BIC Podcast, episode number 172, or the episode I like to call it, What Did Eric Do This Time? We're going to have a very, very special episode because somebody on this screen has been exposed for the horrors and things they've done. We'll talk about it. This is going to be our very first watch-along reaction on a podcast episode. So this is going to be a very special edition. But first, we're going to have all the regular segments. And then again, we'll find out what Eric has done. And we're going to find out that coincidentally, Brandon, the very same week that we have some accusations and some startling revelations, Eric is going to be conveniently absent on Friday. We're going to talk about that and more on this episode of the BIC Podcast. Yes, under the watchful eyes of Brett Favre. All I got to say is I have a lot of questions, Brandon, that's going to come into this because we didn't know that all these things were going to come together and how convenient it is that this is all coming. So real quick, programming note. The live stream on Friday will be at the usual standard time. Brandon Bubbles and Call Cards is not scheduled to be there, but we'll get the usual cast of characters. But someone will be noticeably absent. So this segment, before we get into anything else that I like to call Eric's Alibi. Now, Eric is going to be conveniently absent. Eric has been accused of a lot of things in this hobby, Brandon. We still don't know what happened to the Dallas Card Show cards that mysteriously vanished. But on Friday, Eric is allegedly going to be somewhere. He claims that it has to do with him giving his son a birthday present. But how convenient that Mr. Eric, artist rendering included, with the mayonnaise jar, so that's how you know it's legit, is going to be at a Celtics game. He's going to be Mr. The Hockeys, is going to be watching the basketballs. So the question is it simply the concussions that he thinks there's going to be a hockey game at the arena where hockey is occasionally played? But when he realizes there are very tall people without wearing skates, will he clue in? Will he clue in on the fact that he's wearing a bunch of green during a Boston Bruins game, and it turns out it's not a Boston Bruins game? What's happening right now?
I think Eric he puts on this act of being this huge hockey fan, and all the other sports except for bicycles aren't relevant. But a few days back, I happened to share a revelation on Eric's baseball. He always claims baseball sucks, but yet one Gordie Howe, Mr. Gordie Howe, Eric talks about a lot. Mr. Gordie Howe, he makes what, Eric?
He represented Eaton's sporting equipment.
But what does he make?
He made he didn't make it. I mean, he had his name on it, and it was a baseball glove.
Yeah. So, and now he's pretending to go to a basketball game. And, we never hear him talk really about basketball except for Danny Ainge.
I like Danny.
There's a lot of questions, Eric. A lot of questions.
Danny Ainge, a two-sport athlete, played for the Blue Jays.
Is this why we're going to find out about the super secret Instagram? He's claiming to be Sanderson Doerr when he's really Russell Ainge.
Do you remember a few years ago when he put on the act of being, the Maple Leafs fan, and he redecorated the room for all that, right?
I don't recall that. I'm not here to
recall that. What if these walls are just on like posts, and he spins them around?
The entire thing is a front. Like it's all lies. Why do you think Willie O'Ree calls him Eric in quotation marks? Because Willie O'Ree knows, like we do, that this is all a complete sham. All of this is a fraud. But look, Brandon, before I continue, because again, Eric will not be on the live on Friday, conveniently absent, as these questions are going to come up that we're going to address later on in this episode. So, Brandon, I got to make sure that we don't miss out on our opportunity. We are 5% more mature, but the facts are the facts. So now, Brandon, I have to make sure that we do not miss out on these questions that we're going to have to percolate on until Friday. So, Brandon, I'd like to share one more thing since you brought that up. Eric always speaks of the cyclings, Eric's love of the cyclings. Well, it just so happens that I have a clip of some of the cyclings. And for a brief shining moment, Brandon, this is almost a sport I could get behind. Let me show you. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I happen to have a clip, and I can share it with you. So what I'd like to do is and I will include a link in the description, ladies and gentlemen. I will include a link in the description to this. so you can check this out for yourself. So allow me to share with you.
Oh, good Lord. I watched this live. All right, hold on. Before you hit play, I won't give it away. I was watching this live with Mom. Michelle was in the other room. Okay. She heard my mother and I scream and came running because she thought
You fell off the bike.
something was wrong.
Oh, something went wrong, Eric. Oh, something went wrong. Brandon, something went wrong, and I am going to give it the gravitas and respect that it deserves. Brandon, first, I need to play it for you so that we can see. So this is this is one of the bike races that Eric talks about so much, that he, all the women's bicycling that he watches for the articles. This is one of the articles that he was trying to read with his eyes. But let's take a look.
Mom and I were watching this. We screamed. Go ahead.
Let's take a look, Brandon, and what this entails. Let's look.
Qui est parti à la faute. Hop, hop, le suraccident. Attention! Oh non!
Oh no!
Do they not have brakes?
So what you don't realize is that they're coming down a mountain at about 50 to 60 miles an hour, and this is a hairpin turn. So they didn't see the pileup in the initial crash. So you're coming around a hairpin, and all of a sudden there's just bodies everywhere. You obviously want to go wide on a hairpin turn at those speeds. And what you saw at the very beginning of the video is you already saw someone for Visma Lisa bike in the yellow already down there.
That literally sounds like a made-up name.
Okay. She had already gone over, got up, and had started walking back up to the top. You see where the two yellow jerseys are. So she's the girl that's laying there. She's Italian. She's the second rider to do that, but her injuries were much, much worse. She broke 5 ribs and broke her shoulder.
Indeed.
Everyone up top is all bloodied and damaged and concussed. Bikes are destroyed, and these bikes are $10,000 to $12,000 a piece. The bikes are all destroyed. There's the women got cuts on their faces, their chins are split open, their legs there's blood everywhere. It was horrible. Thankfully, the Italian girl that you saw crash, Mom and I thought she died. We thought we just saw someone die, and thankfully, she's gonna be okay. But 5 broken ribs, shattered broken ribs, and a broken shoulder.
So in that spirit, Brandon, I keep asking myself, whenever Eric talks about the cycling, why doesn't he sell that? Because that is something that we can watch. What do you think motorsports is built on? We're all kind of secretly hoping they crash. That's what we're watching for. We're not, the purity of the sport, the racing. Oh yes, we're watching NASCAR so we can watch them turn left. No, we're watching so they damn crash. Now, it would be insensitive of me. Unfortunately, Eric, you forced my hand because now I have to operate this entire episode under Friday rules. So you understand what's about to happen, though, don't you? I think we've given it the gravitas, Brandon, and thankfully through Eric's update, she is recovering. We wish her the best. That said, oh no! And let the record say, yeah, that's why you're half smiling after the conclusion. You're so traumatized that you're smirking, you asshole. What's wrong with you?
I wasn't smirking when we first saw it. Michelle,
you're doing it right now.
It was bad.
Yeah, Brandon, it's so bad. It's so bad. You guys, it's so bad. It's so terrible. Oh, this is awful.
You should see the other angles of all the crashes. And blood and. Oh.
You're like, this, Brandon, could you imagine this? It's like, oh, this is atrocious. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. Rewind. This is this is horrible. Like my life, like I can't even believe it.
I've seen
rewind, slow motion.
Yeah.
Forward,
forward,
like the Zack Shooter film. Forward.
And you watch the rider from Visma go over first, and yeah, it's.
Do you get to listen to a different announcer say, "Oh no," in different languages?
No, I watched it in English.
No, but I'm saying, is there like multiple tracks? The French judge. Oh no!
There's you know, there's commentators from all over the world, you know, doing these races. So you can get any language you want.
So you all,
And when
you
was
all
the
know
first one?
Eric prefers the German one.
What day was it on?
That was Saturday.
Oh. I was really surprised that you didn't watch your favorite athlete playing flag football.
No, I had no interest in watching that, but I did hear that Gronk tore his hamstring.
Eric, why wouldn't you watch him? Eric, what's the problem with watching Tom Brady play flag football? You watched it in New England for years. He didn't get touched. He wasn't allowed. This is basically flag football. It's the same thing.
I had not the one that Brady was in. I don't even remember. What was it? Burrow and Jaden Daniels maybe was quarterbacks on one of the teams. I think. Anyway, I had it on for, I don't know, 5 minutes at the most, and it was the most boring thing.
Well, it's flag football. Why would you want to watch? Look, watching flag football is like watching cycling that doesn't involve crashing. Like that 15 seconds. That 15 seconds was the only cycling I've ever intentionally got out of my way to watch. And I thank friend of the channel, Paul, for providing me that link to X. I will provide that all to you. Eric, you see, I was ready.
Yeah, it was not intentional. I cut the TV on, and it was already on the channel that the game was on. And I was like, I didn't even know they were doing it. And I was like, what is this crap? And so, yeah, it was not fun.
Yeah. So feel free in the comment section to let us know your thoughts and feelings on, oh no. And also remember, this segment was Friday adjacent. We will be back with regular shenanigans on Friday, but I just wanted to make sure you understood that concessions had to be made. More on that later. And now go ahead.
Real quick to put a button on the flag football. I heard that they're doing this in the Olympics. If they're doing that, they're putting that as a product in the Olympics. We all need to petition to get breakdancing back.
Yes, Ray Gunn, come back to us.
At least Ray Gunn gave us some entertainment value.
It was amazing. It was the golden era. Eric, the last time I gave a shit about the Olympics was Ray Gunn. And after that, I don't care what happens. That's all I'm saying.
She was a special athlete, wasn't she?
Eric, I said it on Friday.
You remember the name, though. So
yes, you do. Exactly. We don't remember 3/4 of the Olympians. We don't give a shit. But look, we remember the name of Ray Gunn, Eric. We remember. No, can you tell me who was the gold medalist? No, you fucking can't. But you can tell me who Ray Gunn is. That's right. So who's the real winner? That's what I'm saying. And as I said on Friday, in relation to a third-party grader that will not be mentioned later on, but I'll mention it now. Bless their hearts.
Bless their hearts.
Bless their hearts.
Bless them.
Indeed. Rarely can you invoke the bless their hearts as a non-Southerner, Brendan, and I did, and it was correct. It was the correct time and the correct place. KSA, bless their hearts. Yep. All right. Silly card of the week time. Silly card of the week time. Let's do it. All right. First, we got the results. Last week's silly card of the week. Again, we do every single vote. It is the only true democracy in this world. Here we go. I'm going to share for you last week's result. By the way, thank you guys. A return to form, 44 votes. So let's creep that back up.
Come on.
Turn out.
Come on.
The winner was Oscar. People like the hair.
Just come on.
A strong performance for Megalodon.
For second and third, though.
Megalodon edged out Cowboy Carl.
Came in last. You got to be kidding.
Yep. But we count every single vote. Look, the previous week, Eric had a winner. So let it not be said. We count all the votes, man.
Spoilers before you show them. I actually think Eric has a very, and I don't know what Carlos's is, but I think Eric has a contender this week.
I have one that is thematically appropriate. So we'll see. We'll see how the people feel on this one. But I'll share. In this case, we'll have a little context, but let's share this week's results. And again, there'll be a community post. You can select your favorite for this week's silly card of the week. Feel free. It is the only true democracy in this world. Every vote is counted. First option. We got a Cowrican Jr. Image. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is from Upper Deck, and there was many choices I could have used. Upper Deck fun packs, but I chose Cal for 2 reasons. Well, actually 3 reasons, I guess. One, I never remember the man looking like Frank Thomas in an Orioles uniform.
No.
Number 2, growing up in the area, I never heard anyone refer to Cal Ripken as the Ripper.
Nope.
And then, of course, it reminded me of He-Man thematically in the Battle for Eternity.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
The card in general made no sense. And there was many choices that could have been appropriate, but I was like, I don't ever remember Cal Ripken as the Ripper.
Nope. Nope. Not at all.
This feels like a Cal Ripken / Brady Anderson situation. Brady was the Ripper for a season.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Brady. He was on the Orioles. He actually holds an Orioles, well, it might be an MLB record or tied an MLB record.
Most steroids used?
No, he actually got hit multiple times in the same inning.
That's probably true.
Yeah,
that would be.
I was at the game,
record I'd root for.
and I can't remember if it was an Oriole record or tied an MLB record. But yeah, he was leadoff hitter, and he got hit multiple times in the same inning.
That takes some doing because the rest of the lineup has to turn it over in order for you to get back up in the same inning. So there's a little bit involved there. All right, so that's the first option that we got available this week. Second option, let's see if we can tilt down. Okay, I'll have to do it manually. Here we go. Second option, here it is.
Okay, so what caught my attention to this is an official Upper Deck card. Okay, this isn't a meme. This isn't something that someone did to be funny on Instagram. Okay, the fact that it says if you can understand this ... is downright diabolical.
Ooh, he used it in a correct sentence. Diabolical.
I was a Jim Abbott fan. I think for what he accomplished was completely amazing. He is a incredible athlete. And I watched this guy bat a couple of times and get hits. And for those who don't know, Jim Abbott doesn't have a right hand. He was a major league pitcher. He had to move his glove around and on the stub, and he was remarkable. I have nothing but the highest praise for Jim Abbott. But to put him in front of a keyboard and say, if you can understand this, ... is downright diabolical. The guy doesn't have a right hand. And they got him in front of a keyboard.
I'm deeply concerned, Brandon, that Eric doesn't realize the backstory of this. I happen to have it on good authority that this was Bobby Orr's idea. He sat back and he thought to himself, hey guys, this would be funny. It's like, Bobby, that doesn't seem just go with it. It'll be funny.
So is that a Michigan cheerleader poster on the other side of his head?
Yeah, there's something going on up here.
I don't know.
Doesn't that look like the girl from Saved by the Bell, though?
That's why I was like, since everything else is Michigan.
Like Eric, am I wrong here? Does that not look like one of the girls from Saved by the Bell?
It does kind of look like the one that ended up doing that stripper movie. Yeah.
Yeah, the one you watched for the articles, that one.
It was a movie, so there was no articles, but it was.
Hey, there's no articles in cycling either. That doesn't stop you yet.
But yeah,
that's very bad. What is it? The word escaped me, but his posture is going to be terrible because his
ergonomics. His ergonomics are atrocious.
Ergonomics. There you go. I knew it had an E. Yes. Terrible ergonomics there. His monitor's way too low.
Well, listen, what Eric is trying to, unfortunately, Eric was trying to white knight here in virtue signal. The reality is the understanding is based on that computer is not even properly set up. The ergonomics are terrible. That desk is definitely not a desk you should be using for this. Like, it's utterly ridiculous. It is absolutely absurd that they would do this. And again, literally, they shoved the man into a corner. This is an office space situation. Jim Abbott had a whole full spread with a proper keyboard and mouse setup, good ergonomics. And look, he's hunched over, kind of looking down at kind of an angle.
Oh,
they're trying to hurt this man.
Yeah.
That disturbs me.
Just, I wouldn't have picked it if it wasn't just for the bottom sentence. That just blew my mind. If you can understand, if it's almost like, if you can understand why this is funny, you're going to hell. I just couldn't believe they did that.
I can't believe Bobby Orr came up with it. That's awful. Moving on.
That's just,
so that will be your second option, your second selection.
Diabolical.
Your last option is what seems like a regular card. Let me explain. You have Perez Steel art cards that are included for various Hall of Famers. And it's very popular to get these autographed. That in itself is not silly. Carl Yastrzemski, Boston Red Sox legend, Hall of Famer. That is not the issue here. Perez did a good job. Looks good. The autograph's on there. But it is our good friends at Beckett. Now, I'm going to give you some context for this, but let me show you first. I want you to pay attention right up here. There is a cutoff where the slab stops. And this card continues past that point.
Keeps on going.
And there's a reason why, Brandon, this is egregious. Other than the fact that aesthetically this looks terrible, given that ridiculousness. But Brandon, this is Beckett, the namesake of Jimbo. And Brandon, when it comes to this, so here's the back of it. You can see it even more clearly. So I wanted to show you the back of it as well, so you can see there. But the reason why this is an issue, Eric, Beckett has slabs that can house a house.
Oh,
here's an example of another card in the same set from Beckett as well. And clearly, there appears to be more than enough space, Eric, to house the entire card. Some would argue too much space, but the point is they've clearly got enough room to fit this thing, and they have a holder that can accommodate, and yet we wound up with this. What did Carl do wrong, Eric? What happened?
I think it really just comes down to, yet again, that Beckett is a complete shit company, and that's why they ended up getting sold, and now Collectors Universe has to deal with the problem.
Believe it or not, Brandon, this is not the reason why we're going to question Beckett, but I just wanted to point it out that the same Beckett that has dinner plate size slabs, that has house size slabs, you can build a house with the gigantic slabs they have. And for the only time, perhaps in history, the issue is that the slab was too small to accommodate the thing that you were trying to put inside of it.
They're just the worst. Oh my God.
There you go. I needed to give some additional context, Brandon, because without it, you could say, oh, that's kind of weird. But then, but it's Beckett. You definitely have slabs big enough to house this.
Before you explained, I was going to guess they spelled his name wrong on the label, because that would have been the obvious part.
Yes, that would have been very well in frame, but I don't think that would not have been good enough. Not good enough.
Now, that was just terrible.
Terrible.
Yep. And especially a company that, again, Brandon, has slabs the size of a house. There is literally no item there should never be an item that, hey, it doesn't quite fit because it's too big for the holder. That is an issue that has never plagued Beckett.
They can slab posters.
That's what I'm saying. There's no excuse. I'm sorry. The answer should be like, hey, that holder is too fucking big for the card. That is a normal thing. It's never the other way around, but here we are.
It just sucks so bad.
Yeah. So I will give credit. Junk Wax Hero featured that in the thing over the weekend. I saw it, and then I'm like, Eric, I had a couple of other options, but that one immediately jumped to the front of the line as soon as I saw that. And now I will say to Junk Wax Hero and whoever wants to pass this along, when it comes to something like that, I want a link, because then I actually went to go find it. I had to go find it on eBay, Eric. I had to go find it myself. I did go locate the actual, because I don't want an X post or an Instagram post or whatever. I actually want to find the image, because then I can pull up the real image. So I went and found the eBay lot. You can actually buy that on eBay. It is available.
Sign me up.
Yes. So
it is a Boston card, Eric.
It is a Boston.
Might
So-
explain some things. The Boston Connection.
Just saying. So now, I think it's time for some pickups. So I have a couple. So Brandon, Eric, I think this time around you don't have anything for us this time around. Eric, how many items do you have? Because I can go back and forth with you, or we can do them all at once. Let me know where you're at here.
Well, I just do the 3 that we came back from the signing.
All right, so do the 3 that came back from the signing, and then I'll share a couple of things, give a little story, and then so you start. Go ahead.
So, people who watch the show know that at Sports World we're very lucky to work with a lot of different athletes and coaches and from all the different sports. But hockey is obviously my thing, and we've been communicating with the Hockey Hall of Famer, probably the greatest coach in NHL history, Scotty Bowman, for quite a while. And Scotty finally said, "Why don't you just send me some stuff and I'd be happy to sign it," and blah, blah, blah. So we packed up a big package and sent him tons of pucks and pitches and all sorts of different things. And he did an absolute fantastic job. I only sent out 3 things on my own. If I decide to change my mind, I grab more stuff from the shop. But these are the things that I pulled out of my collection that I had and sent to him. And they just came back yesterday. So first, I'll show you this one first. Is a UD masterpiece when he was with Detroit lifting the cup. And you see that I had him sign it in red Sharpie right across the top there. We have his rookie card. Again, red Sharpie right across the blue vest. Warm-ups that he has on. And then finally, I had him do a Hall of Fame puck for me. He didn't include his Hall of Fame date, but that's fine. But those are the 3 things that I had Scotty do for me, but we also had him do a bunch more for the shop. So we got Montreal pucks and Blues pucks and some more cards and pictures and I don't know, a bunch of different things. So, but those are the 3 things that I had done. And I thought, these gentlemen's 90 something years old. Talking to him on the phone, you would not know that he's doing very, very well for his age. And his autograph is fantastic. So here you go. I'll show you again. Yeah, I'm just saying his autograph, 90 something years old. I mean, it's perfect. So very happy to interact with him and get some things done from him. So.
All right, sounds good. So this past couple of weeks, I did talk a little bit about it last week. So I'm going to show one of the cards I'm going to show is one that I already showed previously, but now I have it in hand. But lately I've been on a bit of a Mike Modano expedition. So maybe I'll have a little video talking about a couple of things related to that. I'll probably put that on the channel this week because I have a few thoughts that I'd like to share. And really what it came down to is what I talked about the last week is that for me, a lot of this comes in waves. I collect a lot of different things. I've been focused a lot on the wrestling because honestly, that's what I've been able to find. The biggest issue I've had with the Modano PC is not that I don't want to pick up stuff. I've got my safe searches and such. But it's a pleasure when something comes up on the safe search, something that I'm either not expecting or something that I've been looking for a long time. And the key here is it doesn't have to be expensive. And there was kind of a topic that was brought up. I think I saw a couple of reactions to it about advanced collectors. I do have some thoughts about that, but I actually want to save it maybe for a standalone video. I could have a deep conversation about this, but for now, I'll stick to just for the moment. But the Modano collection is the one that I've been working at the longest. I've been very consistently on it. And it's nice when you can add things, but it goes in waves. There'll be stretches of time where I won't be able to add much because I'll be like, okay, maybe a new series came out, like the Detroit Red Wings Centennial came out, and I find some stuff for it. That's easy. Like relative, most of that stuff's pretty cheap, whatever. But it's the playing days and some of that 90s stuff that I'm really after. And when I can come across it, it's wonderful. So I'm going to show you 2 things. One of them, like I said, I already shared with you previously, and I'll get into it now that I have it in hand. But the other one I came across just the other day. So this past weekend. And it goes down under the category of sometimes you don't realize what it is if you don't know, but then if you do know, that's where you can kind of take advantage, something we've talked about in the past. So first one here is from 99-2000 Ovation. So I think you can see if you look around the player a little bit, there's a little bit of rainbow shine there.
Yes.
So this is the Ovation standing ovation. So there's only one parallel. This was a retail based set. Kind of an interesting design. They got kind of a skate kind of thing. You can't really tell the texture to it there. You can tell a little bit. So there's like a texture around it. It's supposed to be like ice around it, but then the standard version, the word standing is there. And then this one's got rainbow foil. That's how you differentiate between this and the regular version. And then the other thing is that on the back, it'll be numbered. So if you can look at there towards the top, serial numbered, it's printed out of 50. So that, 2 cards isn't really a rainbow, but that indirectly completes the rainbow because it's just the base and this one. So there's 3 total cards in the set, 99 2000 set, base, standing ovation right here that I got in my hand, and then 1 insert, and that's it. Brendan, the entire set is now off the checklist. So pleasant surprise to find one of these, always nice. I got a mail day video that I'll be doing this week. I'm actually waiting for one more card to come in, and then I'll do a couple of things. So it'll be a couple of weeks worth of mail, but when I can get stuff like that, love it, especially knocking a 90s thing off the checklist. Second thing, though, was a pleasant surprise. I was actually looking for something completely unrelated. I was searching and doing a little trolling on eBay, and then I came across this, and a Canadian seller had it, and I was like, oh. And when I saw it, though, this again goes back to you got to know what you're looking for, because the example I'm going to give you here, early 2000s, Be a Player. Be a Player had this bad habit, Brandon, in the hockeys. They would give you this card, and the card looks nice, and you look at, oh, that's kind of a cool card. But they would have like a low print run, and it doesn't say anywhere. If you're not looking, if you could look right at it and go, oh, that's kind of cool, but whatever. But actually, it could be a little tougher. Yeah.
Stadium Club has stuff like that, where it's very, very low printed, but it doesn't say it on it what the print is.
Mm-hmm. So these were kind of sneaky. So I'll explain what this is. So this right here is the complete all-star jersey. So it's literally complete jersey. And then you've got a piece of the jersey, a piece of the number, a piece of an emblem, and then the fight strap. So you got these 4 different components of the jersey included on the card, all game used. This is 0304. And then I'll show you the back here just so you can see. So 0304 Be a Player Memorabilia Series, complete all-star jersey card. Now they do specify here, which I like. It says on the front of this card is a piece of jersey, number, emblem, and fight strap worn by Mike McDaniel while playing for the Western Conference All-Star team during the 2003 All-Star game in Florida. Very specific, like down to the game, down to the circumstances, down to re-emphasizing the components. And this is when in the game / Be a Player, this is still, you can see NHLPA and NHL. This is still fully licensed. And I think, Brandon, what hurt these things over the years and what people lost sight of is that for several years there after 98, 99, Be a Player and in the game was 100% licensed into the beginning of the 2000s. So a lot of this stuff kind of got lost in the sands of time and people forgot it. Well, Brandon, the thing with this one is that all the complete jerseys are a print run of 10. So when I was looking at it, as soon as I see what it is, first thing I'm doing is I'm double checking. I'm looking all around it to go like, does it have the vault stamp on it? Because there are, the vault copies out there for different things and they'll stamp it 1 of 1. But I was looking for that and I didn't see it. I was like, oh, is that the original, the actual card from the pack? And it turns out it is. And I was like, excellent. So as soon as I see it, now I got to be perfectly honest with you. So right there, print run of 10. I'm already super interested. Price point on it, I'm super interested. I'm all good to go. Now, the thing is, of course, Brandon, I got to be a little bit cheap. I did make an offer on it. Now, they accepted the offer. So I've got that one coming on my way. But yeah, print run of 10. That one, Ray, was a pleasant surprise. I was looking at something unrelated and I came across this one. I was like, love it. Love when you can add something to that to the PC. And again, I appreciate that on the back, they made very clear what game it was from. It was an all-star game, but also they were very clear what the all-star game was and gave the information. And it's actually got 4 different components of the hockey jersey included, hence the complete jersey. And very colorful as well. It's got kind of nice, colorful design, a little bit interesting. But again, Brandon, if you're looking at it, nothing on that card indicates it's out of 10. Nothing. There isn't a single peep about it. But as soon as I see it, I'm like, if it's not the vault one, then it's the OG, then that's out of 10. But I happen to be there at the time. That's the only reason I know that. I know this because I remember when the set came out. I opened some packs of it and such. You can go look it up, but I already knew. So for me, it was like, I'd like you to make an offer. They accepted the offer. So that one is going to be incoming in a future mail day as well.
Did they know there was only 10 of them? You think?
For the price they were asking, and considering they took my offer, I'm going to say no. Like, obviously, it's a nice card. And it's game used. Like, there's no question about that. It's very clearly indicated on it. But if you're looking at it and you just say, oh, that's a nice card, but it's game used, I think they priced it in that vein. I don't think they priced it in the print runs 10. It's actually kind of a tough card to come by. You don't come across those all the time.
Take it even further. I mean, yeah, the print run and everything else, but I think jerseys like that in general like it's the All-Star game, right? Only happens once a year. At most, even if they change at intermission, they wear 3 jerseys a game if they change the jersey. There's not a lot of those out there, so they already are inherently limited, you know? So that's another thing to take into account is you're not gonna see All-Star game relics of Mike Modano, the player you're collecting, out there, period, let alone, you know. So good snag on that one. Even if it was to 50, it's still a card that you're not going to see a lot of because of that specific jersey.
For sure. And it goes back to what we've talked about in the past. So sometimes the advantage is to the people that have that information. You know, if you know that, you can that's a situation where you eyeball it. So inherently at that point, Eric, I can look at the price point. I may not have comps because in that case, there's not enough of them out there for me to have valid comps. There's not much for me to go on. But I can get a sense. I'm like, wait, I know what the print run is. Those are pretty tough. So then I can decide what's that worth to me. And then I can make a judgment call based on that and say, all right, no, that's a tough piece. And I'm interested. And again, already the price was reasonable, but then, yeah, hey, look, we got to try to get an extra, try to get a little bit of a deal if we can, Otherwise, people get suspicious. They're like, wait, why did you accept so quickly? You got to at least try, at least give it a go. But yeah, so that was a nice surprise. Canadian seller as well. So that's nice for the shipping perspective. So that's good. So I'm hoping to have that one in hand. I'll be happy to add that one to the PC. So another nice one. So it's been a good run. Last couple of weeks, actually. It's been nice to find a couple of these things here and there, especially some of the playing day stuff, Brandon. Like it's been a good little mini run. I'm kind of troubled by this, though. And not in a bad way necessarily, but I'm just saying from the perspective of I am trying to set some money aside, and I'll mention it here, and I'll mention it again on Friday. I am trying to set a little money aside. I got my spring expo here coming up. And I'm trying to put a little money aside. And Eric, I have purchased the hotel booking has been made, so that has been arranged. But since we're a little over a month out, so I was like, ooh, I better start setting some money aside. The problem is I'm finding stuff, and I don't want to deny myself really quality stuff just because. But at the same time, like I'd like to have a couple of bucks, to shop around the expo a little bit.
Not to out our hotel, but the same hotel that we all stayed at last time.
Yeah, that's gonna be my plan. Yeah. Right now, it's a good setup for me. It's a good spot. So I figure, yeah, that'll work. And then, hey, maybe they'll have the knife convention downstairs and I can take images and you can seethe with jealousy.
Yeah, I can't believe they had a knife convention there. That's crazy.
Oh, we're going to find out. It's like literally it's like, hey, the knife convention's back. Now that we don't have to deal with Eric. All of a sudden they're like, hey guys, we got knives. Get your knives. Get your knives here.
Bad show today. I got to go to the knife show. Sorry.
Get your knives. Just saying. So, got plans. So, still a little time, Brandon, but obviously on the channel, the expos are always, a fun thing, like Shark Week, but lamer. Although we did have Megalodon last week. So, so definitely there'll be some stuff related to that. There will be videos related to that. There will be a live of some kind. Usually I arrange it. There's going to be some folks that are going to come out for that. So that should be good. Spring Expo is a little bit more chill. The fall expo is obviously the big one, but the spring one is no slouch. Like there's definitely going to be a lot of dealers there, and I think we're going to have some fun with it. And it should be good making some arrangements and chatting with some folks. So that's always good. But we're just over a month out. So by comparison of the national, we were been very restrained, Brandon. Like I literally just started the countdown timer this past week. So we held back pretty good.
Just to share, if anybody even cares, the last couple of weeks I haven't had anything mail day wise pickups or anything. I was telling the guys before we started recording, I have a bunch that'll be here. Maybe I might see them from ComC at some point. So I did make a bunch of purchases on there, but obviously it's going to take a while to get them. And I've been kind of in a transition phase of changing some things around and stuff. I haven't even really been browsing eBay much, looking for anything right now. So there is stuff coming. I have been buying stuff. It's just not card related, I guess. So I haven't stopped collecting. Don't go spread the rumors. Just waiting on the slowness.
All right, fair enough. So we'll figure all that out as we get closer to it. As usual, there'll be an episode talking about before the expo and all that and the preparation stuff. The usual stuff that you expect from this channel, because again, that's kind of our national here. That's our focus twice a year. So that's always a good thing. And then what'll be interesting, Eric, and I'll talk more about it as we get closer. I mentioned last year, but again, it's happening this year. A lot of milestone episodes are happening in convenient timing, and that is actually going to continue. I actually went and did a little look-see, and I was very surprised to find some milestones were falling bang on to certain dates.
Okay.
And I'll share something related to that in the coming weeks as we get a little bit closer.
Ooh, that's called a tease in the business.
Yes. Can't give away everything, Brandon. You gotta lay the groundwork a little bit. Let people know that something's coming. But the content gods have been kind. The calendar is playing right into my hands. It's been very interesting the way this has worked out. So I'll let you all know when the time is right. So here's what we're going to do for this episode. Usually we have some kind of a newsy segment or something. There's not really nothing that's caught my eye. Really nothing too interesting. The whatnot thing, we don't have any updates. We talked about that last time around as a live episode. If anything does come up on the channel, I'll be happy to do an update video or talk about it. The ComC thing I talked about as well, so we got that in there. Now, let me set this up. I had Teapot from MarketMovers on the channel a couple of weeks back to talk about his grading experiment. Now today, literally, like half an hour before we started coming on here to talk, and then we were going to hit record, I actually watched the video from the MarketMovers channel. And this video was related directly to a card from Teapot's collection. So it is grading related. It's not just adjacent. It is grading related directly, but this is focusing on one specific card. So talking about the whole Beckett thing. So I'll give you guys a quick lay of the land, and then we're actually going to do something that we haven't done on a podcast episode ever, but I have done on the channel. We're actually going to watch and do a reaction to this video, but let me set it up for you. So basically, Teapot is a kind of a Detroit collector, previously from Michigan and such. So he's got Lions cards, but also he's a basketball collector. You know, Drummond is one of his big PCs from the past. But I believe this card is a Grant Hill Essential Credentials. We'll see it obviously once the video plays. But either way, it's an Essential Credentials card. And he had purchased this card in a BGS holder. Now, one of the key things with Essential Credentials and a lot of the 90s stuff was that there have been a lot of backdoor copies. And there are different ways that these backdoors have come in. So I'm just giving you guys some background here. One of the ways is that in some cases, there have been people that have bought the uncut sheets and then cut the sheets. And then if you can get the numbering on it, you can fool people. This is where you have to be kind of careful. Now, what's ironic here, I'm not spoiling the video, but I'm just going to say to you that the irony is that the comment section, some people ran and immediately run to, I literally saw a comment that says, Teapot exposing grading. It's like, well, actually, not really, because obviously the first thing is, any issues related to that, but there may be a silver lining depending on how this ends up going. And what I'll do is we're going to record this on the Monday. We're going to drop it on Tuesday. I am actually going to reach out to Teapot because now I would very much like to have maybe a follow-up conversation, because with the conclusion of this video, there could be something very interesting to discuss. So I want to play it for you. These guys haven't seen the video yet, so they're going to get a chance to see it for the first time. And I want to get their reaction and their response. And then I'm going to chat through it with them. So we'll do a little bit of a collaborative reaction to this video. Okay. You guys all set? I got it queued up on my end, so we'll get her going here. So I'm going to play it slightly sped up for everybody. Let's do 1 1/4 speed. We won't go crazy and do it but it'll be sped up slightly. I will include a link in the description to the original video so that you can watch it in its entirety with no commentary. So you can watch it on your own and get the full experience. But we're going to play it here together and then talk about some of this because I think it'll be interesting. The video is called My Biggest Card May Be Fake and I'm Absolutely Crushed. Crying emoji. It's serious when you got the crying emoji.
Not the crying emoji. Come on.
The crying emoji. This is serious business here, man. So where we come down on this is going to be critical. I think there's an interesting thing. So we're all going to have different perspectives. Again, going back, so give everybody the background. Obviously, I graded some cards in the past, quite a number of them over time. Not a ton, but I do grade. Brandon used to be an SGC bulk submitter. And Eric is a lover of all things Beckett. We'll just go with that. So give everybody, background so we understand where we're all coming from. All right, so here we go. I'm starting right from the beginning of the video. Again, link in the description if you want to watch it in real time on your own. Feel free. Okay, here we go.
If it comes back in a PSA holder, then my conscience is clean. If it's not, we're going to do the right thing. We're going to destroy the card. Did they cross it over? Did they send it back to me and say it was fake? What's the deal? I never thought this would happen to me. I thought that if I bought a card from a major grading company, one of the oldest in existence, that I could count on it being a real card. This was supposed to be a grail card for me, and I might have just made a $2,200 mistake. I'm going to tell you all about it today. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Tyler Nethercott, better known as Teapot, and I'm here in the Arena Club studio in Cards HQ. And I'm not very happy right now, if I'm being honest. In fact, I'm pretty frustrated. I bought a card that I don't normally dabble in terms of the price range. A card that was supposed to be a cornerstone, a grail card for my personal collection. And I bought it. I was really excited. I consolidated some things. I don't typically dabble in the 4-figure card range. And I paid $2,200 for this card. Currently the most expensive card that was supposed to be strictly part of my PC. And the card is graded by Beckett. It's a BGS 5. And I thought because it was graded by Beckett that I could have a lot of confidence that this is a real card. Now, I'm not naive. I know that all the grading companies accidentally grade fraudulent cards, but a big part of why you buy graded cards is supposed to be for that authenticity, for that peace of mind. And basically what happened is I bought this card in 2024 and I've had it in my house and I've had it in my PC. I showed it on a live stream that I did. We were talking about cards and things we collect, and I held it up to the camera and I showed it, and somebody saw the card and immediately had some background and some information that I wasn't privy to, which is that this particular card might actually be fake. Well, not fake in the strict sense. Backdoored. There's something called uncut sheets, and basically these uncut sheets were printed by the manufacturers as proofs, as backup copies, and they didn't cut them, and they didn't stamp or serial number them, and so they just sort of exist. And for people who love to collect history, some people specifically love to chase and track down these uncut sheets. And this card is this Grant Hill 1997-98 EX 2001 Essential Credentials Future. And this card is serial numbered. This really nice acetate. Some of you know they have the 2 cards in these sets. So serial numbered out of 80. And this one's number 9 of 80. And basically what would happen is there's a green one, which is the now, and then there's the future. And the green Grant Hill is actually the serial numbered 1 of 1 owned by Spinatron. And so this one's out of 80, which is the highest serial number. So what they did basically is the card number 1, which you can kind of see. This is card number 1 out of the checklist. There would have been a 1 of 1 and then a range of numbered 80 in the reds. And then for every subsequent player, card number 2 in the checklist would have had an of 2 and an of 79. And they sort of like counted down to where.
Okay, I'm just going to pause for 1 second because I think he's doing a decent job of this. I think I've had this conversation maybe with you, Eric, but I definitely explained this to somebody. The whole essential credentials thing in the 90s is a little bit complicated. It's a little convoluted. It's a cool concept, though. I do like it from that perspective. And actually, Upper Deck brought that back with AEW. They did essential credentials and used a similar numbering scheme. All you need to know is that the now and the future is that you've got ascending and descending. So whatever the last number is, basically the way it works is, and it flip-flops between the two. So if one of them is card number 1, there'll be a number 1 where it's a print run of 1, which is what he's talking about. And then there will be one that is going to be the last one in the run. So if the now is 1 of 1, then the future will be out of 100 or out of 80 or whatever the last card number is. And then it goes backwards. So card number 2 will be out of 2. Card number 3 will be out of 3. But then on the opposite side, it'll be 80, 79, 78, 77, until they eventually catch up in the middle. Eventually in the middle of the set, there'll be something that will have the same numbering on both the now and the future. And the differentiator is the color scheme. So I just wanted to summarize that, Brandon, because it is a little bit convoluted. It's a little weird. If you don't know about it too much in the 90s, I don't blame you. It's not the simplest concept, but I've seen a lot of people get confused about it. It is really awkward.
It's a cool way they did it, but it can get confusing. Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll see these numberings all over the place and you'll say to yourself, Eric, like, oh, that must be fake. No, actually, that's the way they did it originally. This is the 90s, the OG. They did it that way where one numbering is descending and the other numbering is ascending, and it's accurate. That is correct. It's just you have to know. Again, going back to that conversation I had a couple of minutes ago about that whole card where I knew what the print run was. If you know, you know. But if you don't, then utilize a network, talk to people, get that insight, because there are people that know out there, but the information is sometimes a little scattered. It is documented, but you have to go looking. And a lot of people maybe get confused and they see it. So he's trying to explain it, and I don't have any problem with what he's saying, but it is a little complicated. I wanted to give my own quick 2 cents on that.
The middle player would have like the same number on both cards. It's kind of a unique thing. A bit frustrating from a data perspective on how to set it up uniquely, but this set is a fan favorite. These cards really push the envelope. There's like lamination and layering to these cards. This is a different level of technology that has gained a lot of popularity over time. Bought this really nice gold case for it, put it on my shelf, you know, buff it off and make sure the case is cleaned very regularly. It's got fingerprints all over it right now, but I'm going to pop this out. And basically what happened was a guy named Auburn35 on X reached out, started actually tagging some other people. I don't really do too much on X in general. I'm more active on Instagram, but somebody alerted me of this. and they said, hey, that Grant Hill, I didn't catch it, but does the cert end in 3319? And is it serial numbered 9 of 80? Because if it is, it may have been part of an uncut sheet that was sold on the secondary market a few years ago and was subsequently cut up by the person who bought the sheet and then given a fake stamp on the back. Now, they must have had access to some kind of a machine that was able to replicate this stamp the same way as the other ones. Because if you look at other copies, the stamp looks the same, in my opinion. Maybe somebody can disagree with that, but I've looked at a ton of copies, and this looks real. The stamp looks real. The card is real. It's part of it, even if it was part of a sheet, it's real. But the stamp looks real. And so the story goes like this. Somebody buys the sheet, they stamp them, and then they send them off to Beckett, and Beckett grades them. And then they send them to eBay on consignment, and they sell them. And now they've been making the rounds on the secondary market into different collectors or investors' hands. And that's the story of what happened. So what I'm going to refer to here.
So real quick, he's going to get into the reference points. So a couple of quick points here. One, Auburn 35 has actually been a commenter on my channel as well. Very insightful, has a lot of great information, has shared along a lot of great information. So I want to give a shout out for that. Also, quick side point, that numbering and the stamping thing. So as I say, like we're actually doing a response and reaction. So I want to fill in the blanks a little bit here. The stamping thing is one of the trickiest parts because there are some really bad examples where clearly they're using, they're trying to kind of cheaply go around it. And some people are really good at spotting that because you can see the way the fonts are. The problem, Eric, with this, what they were doing back in the day was there was a lot of inconsistency about the way they did it. And it's the font and a lot of those. So I'll give an example of this. Fleer Showcase, the legacies and the masterpieces and stuff like that. Sometimes you'll have those backdoor examples and they'll either not have the numbering. If they don't have the numbering, then you know it's one of the backdoor ones. That's easy. But the problem is when they actually do put the numbering on it and maybe something's off. But the thing is, even when it's accurate, the numbers won't exactly line up perfectly in all cases. There's some weirdness about it. There's some variations in terms of what you can see on that. And that's what you're trying to figure out when you're trying to figure out real from bad. So Brandon, any thought on that?
Well, the thought that I wanted to mention on it is I am pretty certain, unless anything has changed, that Beckett will grade, slab, whatever, even the backdoor copies without the serial number. So just to put the point here of, we can say, well, why would Beckett do, backdoor? They've done them even without the serial numbers. So for them to slab it even as a backdoor, that's not anything unusual. The part here that sucks for Teapot is the serial numbered copies always bring more money. Mm-hmm. And they're like, for his sake and the collectors, they want the real ones. They don't, if somebody just wants the card, they may be okay with the backdoor, but the serial number, knowing that it was a pack pulled one, that always brings more money. So, this card, he said he paid $2,200 without that serial number. I mean, just a guess, but it probably would have fell, I don't know, half, maybe more. It might have been even a bigger discount. I don't know. But yeah, so it's interesting that this went to Beckett and the people took the effort to put the stamping on it, as though it seems. So
yeah. And kind of to Brandon's point here is that Beckett's policy for the longest time was that they would do sheet cut cards. They would do them. Now, the key is ideally what you want in this, especially if there's no numbering on it, a sheet cut card in of itself doesn't mean it's not collectible. There is, as Brandon said, there is still an audience for it, but you're going to pay a fraction. If you, again, if you're knowingly buying a sheet cut card and it's labeled as such and it's clear cut what it is, that's okay. I talked about a couple of minutes ago, Eric, when I was doing my pickup. The first thing that I was looking at when I saw that complete jersey card is I was looking to see if it had the vault stamp on it. The vault stamp, for what people may not be aware of, is that in the game / be a player, at the end of their run, as they were clearing through their inventory, had replacement copies of cards. But what they did is they stamped them with a vault. So it would be a V 1 of 1. So from time to time, you'll hear people say, hey, I got this 1 of 1. And first question is like, does it have a V stamp on it with a 1 of 1? It can be in a variety of colors, but it'll be a V stamp. If it has the V stamp, it's from that vault collection. That does not mean it's a fake card. I want to make emphasis. Does not mean it's a fake card. As a matter of fact, the card was made by the manufacturer. It is a real card. But with that stamping, it came out of a specific product where they were moving through that inventory. And by the way, they're still cool cards. I have some in my collection that I've purchased intentionally because I like the design. But again, I'm going to pay differently. I'm going to pay a fraction. So kind of Eric showing an example here. Yeah. So there is a Parkhurst example with the V. So it'll say 101, it'll say V, but what happens is that's extra inventory they had. And again, there is still a collector base for it, but obviously you're paying less. You're going to pay less. But the card outside of that stamp, it looks identical to the quote unquote real version because it is. It's literally manufactured by the same people with the same. And by the way, that includes jersey cards, that includes patch cards, that includes autographs, that includes all kinds of stuff. So the autograph's still real, or the memorabilia is still coming from the same place, but it's got the stamping. But again, you pay a different price. So if you were to grade that, your expectation is that it's labeled as a vault card, not the original. And the original, Eric, will be valued more by the collector who wants one. As a super collector of a player, sometimes I'll have 2 copies, Eric. And sometimes the vault copy has a better patch. So I can actually buy it for a fraction, but I also want the real one. I want the quote unquote real one from the pack in my collection. If I happen to come across the other one at a good price, I don't mind having it, but I'm going to pay accordingly. So if you're going to do it, I need it to be labeled correctly. And that's where that whole numbering thing comes into play. That's the reason why it was worthwhile bringing up. Okay.
Is a video called Uncut Card Sheets Fraud in the Hobby. And this was a video done by Adam Gray, the Real 27 guy, back when he worked for then PWCC Marketplace, now Fanatics Collect, as well as Spinatron, one of the most well-known, I would say, high-end ultra grail chasers who managed to complete the entire set, every single copy of the essential credentials, now and future, including the one-of-ones. He has the whole set. And in this video, they are talking about this is the exact card. They had pictures of it, and it's the exact card, and it made it out into circulation. And they're saying basically that they could see the timing-wise, there's the uncut sheet with Grant Hill and several other players on the sheet. And then just a few months later, all of a sudden, several of those players show up, all for sale at the same time, all in Beckett slabs for sale on eBay. And they sold. And so they've kind of done this investigative work. Now, here's a little more context. Where did I buy this card? Well, in full transparency, I bought this card here at Cards HQ. And
dun, dun, dun. Okay. So I had to do it, Brandon. Yeah. Normally, if it was just me doing the reaction alone, I would immediately pause and do the dun, dun, dun. So I had to. Go ahead, please.
So I feel bad because you can see the disappointment in Teapot's face.
Correct.
But there is some irony to this coming out now. And I don't know how deep in the coffers they go with pre-recording. But Jeff recently did this long, detailed video of him trying to teach people about fake cards. And now Teapot's on screen saying that the largest card he's ever bought for his collection was purchased at Cards HQ and is potentially fake. There is some irony there.
Yeah. And to be clear, so the reason I paused it here, Eric, and gave the dun, 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 because again, if it was me doing a standalone video myself without you guys, I'd be doing it, because the comment section does not miss this trick. But I will say, and I think it is the right thing to do here, to be fair.
To be fair.
Indeed. In this case, and he's going to give the context, he's going to explain the background of it and everything. If Cards HQ or any dealer is buying a card that has already been graded, it is their expectation that the grading is what gives them some. So people immediately jumped on Cards HQ selling fake cards. Literally, somebody in the comments did that. And I'm like, if you're buying a card at a show that has been graded by a third-party grader that is considered legitimate, right? Then, and again, that's why I'm saying, Eric, we have to be fair here. Yeah. If you're buying a card that has been certified, has been graded and certified, that company is saying that we believe this to be a real card. It is not unreasonable for them to purchase it. And therefore, him as the individual looking to buy it, again, Cards HQ or not, I can't pin this all on the, again, we love picking on Geoff because it's fun. And obviously a lot of people like to do it. But the reality, we can't pin this on Cards HQ specifically, because any other shop that bought this and sold it to somebody, it'd be the same problem.
And again, okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say that instead of pointing fingers and the jokes and all of that, this video should be taken into a perspective, because there's a lot of people, but there's a lot of things that us three combined, we may know a good bit, but we don't know everything. And this puts into context that there are certain things that you need to research, and that there could be issues with, even in the slab. you know, and that 90s, that late 90s Fleer stuff is definitely, Skybox stuff is definitely one of them because of the bankruptcy thing and the sellout and all that. And that's how all this stuff wound up in the marketplace. And you have people that are doing the stampings and everything else and, you know, getting them slabs. So it's just, it's a great example that you still need to take caution.
For sure. And one last quick thing that I'll say just before I hit play again. I'll give you a good example because I chronicled it on the channel. One of my ComC purchases from a while back, I've had the card for a while now. I purchased a Brett Favre, you know, speaking of the not so fella, I purchased a Legacy Collection showcase, you know, showcase card. Those cards are beautiful cards. Really big fan of them. Frequently, backdoor copies are in the marketplace all over the place.
Yep.
And the ones with the numbering on the back is what you're looking for. But at the same time, people have faked the numbering on the back. So, Eric, I purchased this on ComC. I bought it at a fair price, what I deemed to be a fair price. And ComC at the time was a little bit more on the ball in terms of timing. I actually had them send it to PSA through ComC. Well, Eric, why would I do that? I said, no, before I get it sent back to me, I want it sent out and I want them to holder it, because if there's any issue, Eric, believe it or not, and this has come up in the past, if it doesn't holder because there was an issue, ComC would actually reimburse me. So even though I had purchased it through them, I have recourse. And on a card like that, I'm not holding the card in my hand. I'm buying it online. So I wanted the extra layer in between. Now, does that mean 100% definitively there's nothing? I'm looking at the card. I have it in my possession. I have it in my collection. I think it's good based on what I know about that series and that set. Does that mean 100%? No, but I'm 99% confident. But at the very least, I took that extra step. Why did I do that? Because I wanted to have that one extra layer, because it gave me a little bit of recourse in case there was an issue, because I bought it. I'm not telling anybody to do that, but I'm saying there is a reason I did that. I didn't have to. I could have just said, send it to me directly and I'll take care of it myself. But I said, if there was an issue right there on the spot, I had at least one more line of defense between me and it if something came back wrong. So far, so good, but you never know.
Nobody in good conscience that's being fair and legitimate in their critique of this video can just bash Cards HQ for this. All right. Like you said earlier, you know, the reason we send things to grading companies, Beckett is one of the top 4 grading companies. You know, I think they're complete trash, but that's a side note. They're one of the top 4 grading companies. They used to be number 1. And that's the main reason, is so that we, the consumer, feel as if that third party professional said this card is good. So that's number 1. Number 2, keep in mind, the card is real. It's not a counterfeit. We get people coming in every day at Sports World with cards that are on the wrong stock. They don't have a shine. They have too much shine. You can tell that these are fake counterfeit cards. And we say, no, thank you. We're not interested in purchasing this from you today. The card is real. It's the stamping that has been forged. So it's in a Beckett slab. Authentication is their whole point, right? They have authenticated it. The card is real. So your eyeballs, when you get the card in hand at Card HQ, is telling you the card is real. And for anyone who wants to bash them, who thinks that they can, they themselves can identify a professionally done faked stamp, I'm calling shenanigans on that. I'm calling shenanigans. The only way you can prove that this card is fake, in my opinion, is to produce another 9 out of 80. And then you can say, oh, wait a minute, something's wrong here. So that's my opinion. It's authenticated. The card is real. The stamping may or may not be. And unless you have another one sitting right next to it exactly, I don't see how you can say that it's real or not. But I've seen the rest of the video, so I don't know what the rest of the story brings.
Yeah, well, we're going to continue here in a second, but one last thing I'll add just before I hit play here is that the key here is that from the buying perspective, they wouldn't have bought it and they wouldn't have paid whatever it is they paid if it hadn't already been put in that holder previously.
Right.
So when they're buying it from whoever, and he'll tell a little bit more in the story here in a second, is that whenever for the, don't grade anything, grading is a scam crowd. I say, okay, no problem. Here's the thing, reality, Brandon, I really don't care. At the end of the day, if grading went away tomorrow, I would continue to participate in the hobby and I do what I do. But I would adjust my buying accordingly, because if you suddenly snapped grading out of existence, no matter how many mistakes they make, right now, the quote unquote real collectors will make just as many mistakes, if not more. And the problem is then you have no guarantees, no third party, because it doesn't matter how much of an expert I'm still relying on a third party. Then I'm hoping that this person knows what they're talking about, because again, we got nothing else.
Well, and you have to think, yeah, there's more technology today for things. There's a lot of people in the space with a lot of knowledge. Like, it sounds like there is a collector there that is very, very, very in tune with this set and everything, and kind of gave details of why this was a red flag. But if grading went away today, as good or bad you feel it is, the technology today for the scammers is even way better. And they're putting stuff out that it's going to fool some of the best people who may think that they can tell what is and what isn't authenticated, So again, we can't just rely on the slab anymore. We know there's fake slabs all the time. We know there's fake labels, all that stuff. You gotta do your due diligence on everything, whether it's raw or in a slab. You have to do your due diligence.
And what if, right? Because I don't think this is an impossibility. What if the people at the print shop at the time who cut up the sheet and put it through, the same machine that prints the numbers, right?
If I had to guess,
it's identical. There's nobody on the planet that can say that it's fake. If the card is real, we all know that. If it got put through the exact same machine that prints the numbers on it, there's nobody in the world that can tell you that it's real or not, unless you have a second one with the exact same serial number next to it.
Well, if I had to guess, since it was a big, huge like buyout thing, if I had to guess, make a pretty confident guess, the equipment that done those was likely part of that sale and someone got their hands on it.
Yeah. Well, I think the other key piece that I think has created kind of a challenge, and again, that's not saying it's impossible, is that for some of the years, again, there is variations. That's why I want to make the emphasis when we were talking earlier. For some of the years, the font that they used on the stamping is kind of very generic. Like there's nothing special about it. Yeah, it's not this proprietary thing that nobody else can replicate. No, they could. Now, there are going to be some telltale signs that stuff is wrong. Some certain things aren't going to look right. But that's where the people that are really keyed in and tuned in on that set are going to be able to give you some information on the nuances. So I'm going to hit play here. Go ahead.
Just real quick, because I had a question I think I remember, but I want to ask just, and this is something for anybody that doesn't know. You mentioned the Favre that you bought.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the year of the one you got, but isn't there at least 1 year of those that it's not just a serial number? There has to be the foil naming on the back of the card as well.
On a couple of the years, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that adds another layer to it of a bit of security of knowing whether or not it's an actual pack pulled one. So
yeah. And even then, some people have gotten good enough that they can come up with a pretty good approximate, like they'll study the real ones, like they'll study them and be like, let me replicate the font, let me replicate the color, there'll still be things that you can pick up on, but you got to really be in the weeds. You got to be really in the weeds of So I before I hit play, the last thing I'll mention, I talked about that one of one that I purchased a while back, where it was already in the graded holder and everything. But the thing is, that particular year they didn't put any foil on it. It's literally embossed, like it's stamped into the card. So you got to kind of tilt it in order to be able to see it. I showed it in a previous episode. Well, the thing is, Eric, if you don't know that and you go, oh, that must be fake. Well, actually, no, they're all like that. So you got to know the nuances. You got to know the specifics of why they did it a certain way. A different year, the following year, they filled it in with gold. So in the following year, if the following year is just embossed and not filled in with gold, that's fake. But in the first year, if it's filled in with gold and it's not just embossed, that's fake. So all of a sudden you changed from one year to the other how you did it. And that nuance is something you got to know. So you got to know the set to understand the nuance between one and the other. Because if somebody didn't understand the difference, you'd be able to pick it off right at the pass right away. So that it's stuff like that. And I'm not going to blame Brandon, the individual, for not knowing every single nuance on it unless you're specifically studying it. Like if you are really in the weeds, then you'll know. But if you're the rank and file collector, even somebody who's been collecting for a while, I don't expect you to know all that. That's not fair.
No.
So that's why it's a little bit of trickiness in there. So let me hit play here and we'll listen more to the story.
And I talked to Ryan Benos, who bought the card at a show. And Ryan said he already knew there were concerns with 90s inserts and parallels, even ones that have been graded. And he had his doubts. So he actually took this card over to two different people at the show where he bought this card a few years ago, shortly after Cards HQ opened, including to one guy who is a very high-end 90s basketball card collector who owns many of these, who knows these cards inside out. And he took it to another dealer who also sort of specializes in 90s. And he showed them the card and he said, do you think this is legit? Both of them said yes. Both of them said, yes, we believe this card is legit. We don't think it's fake or backdoored or uncut sheet or anything.
Brandon, the collectors have failed us too. It's over.
The dealer.
It's over, man.
The collectors. Yep.
That's what I said. I don't know how you're supposed to. The card is real. The hold is real. I don't see how Joe Average can look at that and say, no, that's fake.
Yeah. And to their credit, by the way, they did try to do some of the diligence. So what Brandon was talking about, they tried to be like, okay, look, we've got already in the holder. We didn't just take it at the holder. We actually took it a step further and said, hey, could you, person who has dealt in this in the past and has some experience with it, could you give us a second opinion? Other person who is familiar with this stuff, could you give us a third? So far, we got 3 separate opinions here in this story that say, seems good to me.
Right.
And Eric, I'll quickly finish with one quick story before I hit play again. Speaking of the wrestling, one of the big purchases I made, one of the riskiest purchases I ever made, was I bought a one-of-one for the Dennis PC. I bought it in Mercari. I don't know if you remember this. I did a purchase of one of the cards in Mercari.
Okay.
I can't even access it. I actually had to have some help to make the purchase. Now, I paid less than I would have at the time for a one-of-one because I'm taking a risk here. I even asked a contact I have at Upper Deck, so to validate based on it, does this look okay to you? So this is kind of a thing that you can, if you have the right ability and the right access and contacts, you can say, hey, does anything about this seem off? What you're asking is, does any of this seem off? Because if you can't handle it in person, you can't be definitive, but you can ask, hey, Brandon, you can say, Brandon, whoever, you're familiar with this. Does anything look off to you? Does anything not pass the smell test? And at least that gives you a little bit of, well, in the years since I've had that actually graded and it's in a holder right now as a one-of-one. It's all good, but who knows down the road? But the point is I at least did that extra diligence, Eric, in addition to what I knew about the series, what I knew about the set. I did ask for a second opinion. And then eventually I asked for a third opinion. Same thing we're talking about here. So you can do your diligence and then you never know, man. Now, in this case, I think we're okay, but who knows? Who knows, man? You got to do the best you can, though. At least try to use your resources. And in this case, it looks like they tried, but the story continues.
Anything like that. So he bought it and they brought it back here and it went out on the shelf and I saw it. And after a few days of deliberation, I bought the card without any of that, really like without any doubt or any scruple in my mind about it. I just thought, well, it's a graded card. It looks amazing. It's very low population, even though there's like 80 of these theoretically. I want to say the global pop, which I forgot to look up, is something like 18 or 23. It's not very many. A lot of these are somewhere maybe hidden in somebody's binders or in boxes from the 90s. These cards were popular back then. EX 2001 was a revolutionary set, but still, there's a lot of these missing. It's not like every copy's been graded. And to my knowledge, there isn't another 9 of 80 that has sold publicly like in a different slab with a different cert number or anywhere else. So what are we going to do about this? Well, I talked to Ryan. I shared this information with him, and Ryan said, Teapot, I think this is what we should do. Let's send it to PSA. Let's get another company's opinion of this card, and let's send it to PSA, and let's see what they say. And if PSA refuses to authenticate this card and holder it and grade it, then when it comes back, we will take it out of the Beckett case and we will destroy this card. And Ryan has said that they will reimburse me for the cost of the card. And obviously I work here, I have a relationship with Ryan. At the end of the day, you know, they're trusting the grading companies. So I would think that's a very case-by-case basis. They have to be able to trust the grading companies, as do any consumers who buy this. But Ryan knows how much of a stretch this was for me. I consolidated a big portion of cards to Cards HQ and sold them to them to get the store credit to fund this purchase. And, you know, there's a big concern with it. So that's what we're going to do. I wanted to be really transparent about this. And there's one thing that I have to point out here. I don't personally like the PSA upcharges. I really don't like them. I don't think very many people like them. Obviously, Jeff started a firestorm on the internet last year when he said he likes the PSA upcharges because it means his card is worth more. We talked more about that on Cards on the Table, and I got him to admit, well, no, if he had it his way, he wouldn't have to pay the upcharge, but he still sees it as trading value for value. Most of the rest of us just downright, you know, hate the upcharges. But there's an element to this of that insurance, like buyback guarantee from PSA, that if this card were in a PSA 5 right now, or any PSA grade, even PSA authentic, and I could go back to PSA with this video and with evidence from Spinatron, who's maybe as knowledgeable as anyone on essential credentials, and Adam Gray, who's also as knowledgeable as anyone on 90s cards and basketball cards in general, and say, hey, PSA, I think you made a mistake. If they found that to be the case, they would reimburse me the fair market value of this card, not even necessarily what I paid for it, the fair market value of this card, whatever they determine that to be. And I do believe this card has gone up a little bit since then. So unfortunately, it's in a Beckett slab. There are no upcharges, and there's no like buyback guarantee, insurance claim guarantee if it's found that this card is fake. So I'm going to send it to PSA in the holder, in the Beckett holder. I'm not cracking it out. I'm going to send it as a crossover service to them. We're going to get their opinion. We're going to see, and I'm just going to tell them, put it in any grade. I don't even care. And if it comes back in a PSA holder, then my conscience is clean. And I hope it does. I really want to keep this card. And that would be a card that I would continue to have. And it would look much better, honestly, this particular card in a PSA slab with the red. I hope that's the case. If it's not, we're going to do the right thing. And we're going to destroy the card. And that's going to break my heart, even on the off chance that somehow it is real. But it would be the right thing to do. So I'm going to walk this over to our PSA folks here in Cards HQ.
So before I continue, obviously we'll continue the video. We still about halfway through. I'll let it run a little bit more. Before I do, I'm going to point out something that he just said, which is accurate. Obviously we pick on, you know, the Beckett folks, obviously quite a bit, but he is correct. At the time, now they're under collectors. That may change, but as of this recording right now, Beckett is not bound by any guarantees that PSA has with its stuff. Like it or not. Now, you might have to fight them to get the value that you feel is appropriate if this scenario plays out. Again, it's case by case. It depends. But it is accurate that if you are a purchaser of a card that has been graded this way, you can invoke the guarantee, which is plausible, and it is something that is in play. But with Beckett, there is no guarantee, Eric. If they grade something that's fake, as it stands right now today, you're shit out of luck. You're SOL. That's it. There's nothing you can do. And, you know, maybe they'll acknowledge, maybe as a make good, they'll try to do something for it, but they're not bound to do a single thing. Now, they didn't upcharge you, but they're also not bound to do a single thing if they get it wrong. Now, other side of it, though, one other quick point he made. He's submitting it as a crossover in the holder, which means, and this is going to play into this video here in a second, PSA is not bound to cross it over at all. They could leave it in the Beckett holder. If they have even the slightest inkling of a doubt, they're allowed to just leave it in the damn holder and hand it back to you. Because obviously they won't want to crack it out of an existing holder and take the liability if something's. That's why a lot of times people have trouble with crossover, getting it to cross over to a different grade. Because if they don't feel like it'll cross over to the minimum grade, whatever you say, they don't want to crack it out of the slab. They'd rather just hand you back the slab and take your money and be done with it if they have the choice. It is possible to cross it over, but they don't have to do it. So that's an important factor we want to mention. So before I hit play, anything else you guys want to mention there? All good? Okay.
I am.
Go ahead.
I am wondering, and again, you know, I don't know. I'm wondering if he was going to destroy the card if PSA wouldn't holder it, why he wouldn't have just cracked it out to begin with, so then they could actually see it raw. And if they were going to holder it, they would holder it, and if not, then they wouldn't have, because he literally said if they weren't going to holder it, then he was going to destroy it. So that's kind of interesting that he's keeping it in the Beckett holder anyway.
I think though, actually, so I understand what you're saying, and I don't think it's a bad point at all, but that's why I gave the quick caveat. I think though, it does make it interesting because in a way, so this is kind of one angle I would present to you. If PSA committed to crossing it, they're basically giving credence to the first authentication. Because in this case, he's not doing the min grade. He's just saying, I'll take an authentic. I don't care. Right. Just give me, if you put it in your holder, even authentic, I'll accept that result. as opposed to I need it to be a minimum 5, minimum 4, whatever. Basically, you're saying that because the moment PSA cracks it out of that holder, they're committing to it. As opposed to if they say they're not going to cross it over, that doesn't necessarily mean they don't think it's authentic, Brandon. They're saying we're not comfortable putting it in our holder and cracking it out of this case, because that is always their caveat. They're saying,
Right,
if we don't feel comfortable enough in the holder that we can say definitively yes, we're not going to take it out.
I guess my thought with it is if you have a concern with authenticity, I would want them to be personally handling it raw.
Sure.
Versus looking through another holder, especially if they reject it and you're not worried about what the grade is or anything else. A, then they're not being influenced by the other label. B,
Sure.
they're getting to handle it in raw condition. And then if they reject it, well, you've already said that you wanted to destroy it anyway. So being inside the holder, being inside the Beckett holder is irrelevant at this point. So I would have just submitted it, like cracked it and submitted it raw to allow them to actually have it in raw physical state, and then, you know, have no influence of Beckett or anything to that effect, and see what they had said that way. That would have been my personal thought behind it, but you know, he obviously went a different direction. So
totally fair. No, that's reasonable. And anybody in the comments section, if you after the fact, let us know if that's would have been your approach. If you would have done it the same way as a crossover, happy to hear what you've got. So here we go. I'm about to hit play now. We're going to let this play out.
We're going to send it off, and when we get it back, we'll come back and we'll share the reveal with you. But I think this is a really important lesson. Let's see what PSA has to say about it. All right, I'm back. I sent the Grant Hill off. I sent it back on January 23rd via regular service level crossover service. And it said they had it checked in around February 10. And today is March 11, and I've got the card back. And before I show you what's behind this box, because I have the card here, you're going to find out in a moment. Did they cross it over? Did they send it back to me and say it was fake? What's the deal?
What's in the box? What's in the box?
What's in the box?
Sorry,
You know,
had to be done.
Don't look in the box.
Had to be done. I need to know what's in the box, Eric. All right, just Brandon. Sorry, had to be done. 5% more mature, perhaps, but not 55% more mature.
it's a big box for one card.
So maybe you don't want to open the box. Maybe you don't want to see what's in the box.
It's definitely Gwyneth Paltrow's head.
All right, just saying. All right, spoilers. Here we go.
I want to dive a little bit more into this dynamic of people online saying that cards are fake. And my question is, have you ever noticed how often you'll see posts on forums, Instagram, or X, where somebody is confidently declaring that a card is fake? I've always wondered about that circumstance. This is the first time it's actually come into play for me, because in the past, I've had people saying, like, they'll put on their Instagram story, fake platinum medallion, fake Flair legacy, fake credentials, fake star rubies, fake PMG. And when I DM them and I say, well, why do you think this card is fake? More often than not, they won't tell me. The usual explanation that I get from them is that they don't want to reveal the details publicly of how they know that the card is fake. And apparently their thinking is that if they explain exactly what to look for, then the scammers and the fraudsters will learn the differences and use that information to make better counterfeits. And to be fair, not everyone operates that way, but it does happen. And I mean, I guess don't trust anybody if you have that mindset of kind of investigative sleuthing. But I think for somebody like myself, who's, you know, kind of built up on Instagram, if I'm saying, hey, like, I like buying 90s cards, you know, you should be able to trust me and say, I'm not going to like go out and start the printing press in my backyard to try to fake these cards. It's always concerned me. And so what you end up with is people claiming that they have some kind of specialized or esoteric knowledge about how to detect those fakes, knowledge that, according to them, even the grading companies don't necessarily have. And maybe that's true in some cases, but it's hard to just blindly trust someone who posts about fake cards every week in their Instagram stories, yet refuses to explain the reasoning. So my question all along has been, why should I trust them? How do I know they're not just trying to scare people away from a card that's up for auction so that they can buy it at a discount? And in this particular situation, Auburn35 on X, who notified me about the potential concerns with this Grant Hill card, thankfully did explain his reasoning. And he pointed me to the video that Adam Gray, the Real 27 guy in Spinatron, did. And his position wasn't that the card was fake in the traditional sense, but that it might not have been authentically stamped, as it had potentially been cut from that uncut sheet. And so now I'm going to show you the results of the submission. Bam. PSA 4, the card came back. PSA graded it. Authentic. PSA 4. It was, as you know, BGS 5. They said
the little countdown timer at the bottom is there kind of ominously. But before I continue, any initial thoughts? So PSA agreed on the crossover to crack it out of the BGS slab. They graded it a 4. In this case, the grade is immaterial. That's not the point. The point in this case is that they agreed to not only crack it out, they agreed to crack it out. They assigned it a grade, and then they put it in their holder. So any initial thoughts before the big update's coming in 40 seconds? So something's happened here.
Initial thoughts go back to what we were talking about earlier. People in the comments is, you know, as soon as, oh, you know, he bought it at Cards HQ, they're selling fake cards, whatever. This proves that people thought it was legit. You know, it went through multiple opinions. Everybody thought it was good. Now he's had it put in 2 companies' holders, both of which thought it was good. And quite honestly, he could probably go the gambit with, you know, the other 2 companies if he wanted to, with SGC and CGC, and they likely would have slabbed it too. So this isn't pointing fingers at Beckett or PSA. Again, I think this video isn't to out Cards HQ. It's not to out Jeff. It's not to out PSA and or Beckett or grading in general. It's to show the level and the amount of stuff out there that just, I don't want to say fake, because again, the card is real, but it's fraudulent. It's not, it's a tough way to put it, because it's not that it's not authentic, but there's stuff done, you know, to make it not what it actually seems. And, you know, this happens daily. Luckily, someone reached out to him. Sadly for him, it was a card he was very excited to own. But we know this happens daily to people, you know, and many of them won't be contacted. So
for sure. Yeah. That's why I wanted to make sure interspersed through this, Eric, is I wanted to give kind of personal stories about in different categories. I didn't go to basketball at all. I talked about football. I talked about those cards. I talked about the wrestling cards from Upper Deck. I didn't stick to one manufacturer. I wanted to give the point that this is an ongoing concern. The idea, let's say both grading companies got it wrong, but then we also have we have a dealer and also a collector who deal in this, who also got it wrong. In this case, Real 27 guy and Spinatron maybe got it right. But Eric, now I got these people arguing this point. I got these people arguing this point. I got 2 grading companies arguing. So we don't have a unanimous consensus. We don't have it hasn't fallen under one line or another. Some people think, oh yeah, for sure. And then these other guys are like, no, but at least when you're giving a reason, that helps. At least that's something. But he's right. Some people just say fake to all of it. It's like, okay, give us the why then. Because right now you're just another voice in the bunch of voices, and we seem to have disagreement here. I have to weigh this. How am I supposed to weigh this if you don't give me the reason?
Well, think back. This scenario right here, there's a card that I think we all are aware. Eric may not be, and that isn't slight to Eric. It's just not his thing. It takes me back to the Juan Soto Bowman Superfractor. If the story was never shared, if there wasn't the sleuths that stay on top of certain things like that, the hobby may never actually have known that the autograph was partially erased and the card was submitted from Beckett over to PSA after the autograph was altered to take it from going off of the card. And, you know, it's not the same as stamping the card. It's essentially taking something away from the card, but it's a similar scenario, a very big card that had some alterations done that if it was never shared publicly, may never be known.
Well, in this case, kind of your point, though, in that scenario, Eric, the card is real. The autograph is real. Everything about that card is 100% real, except we have a before and after image. We can see what it looked like before, and then we can see what it looked like after when somebody grabbed, you know, the old and then decided to make the autograph. And the thing is, they didn't replace the autograph. They took away. What they did is they literally, because it was streaking kind of off the card, it continued. It actually hurt the autograph grade, but that's all that it was. The autograph was real. The autograph wasn't the question. Nobody was asking. They just said, boom, boom. And then all of a sudden the autograph looks much nicer, resubmit it, gets a higher grade, boom, higher price. And because we have the before and after, we can do, but if you don't have the before and after, Eric, how would you know? The autograph is correct. There's nothing wrong with the autograph. The card's real. What's the issue? Right?
Right.
So here we go. Big reveals coming. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. By the way, in the comments, let us know if you enjoy this. I know we paused a fair bit. Again, link in the description. You just want to watch it uninterrupted. But the commentary is the whole point here. This is Mystery Science Theater 3000 style, man. Got to have some commentary included. Here we go.
But it's real. Now, obviously, based on the grading experiment that I did recently, we already know, honestly, beyond the shadow of a doubt, there's a lot of subjectivity involved in grading, not just with the numerical grade itself, but also with questions around alteration and authenticity. My position from the start with this particular experiment, the submission, I don't know what to call it, is I already had Beckett's opinion. They graded it a BGS 5, and now I have PSA's opinion as well. and PSA has graded it a 4, but they've also, most importantly, deemed that it is an authentic, real Essential Credentials card. And because of that, I am not going to be destroying this card. Well, hold up, wait a minute. It is now 6:07 p.m. And as all of you know, watching this video, if you're watching this on Monday night anyway, my videos normally come out at 5:30 Eastern time on Monday nights, and we've got a little curveball in the situation. So I have the card here. I have the card, PSA 4, and it was graded. And basically what happened was, I did an interview last week on Cajun Cardboard's YouTube channel, and he had me as a guest. I did an interview, and as part of that, I talked about my PC, and I showed some Grant Hill cards, and I said that I have a lot of Grant Hill cards in my collection. And then a collector on Instagram, who I've been connected to for many years, big Grant Hill super collector, reached out to me and said, hey, can you tell me what Grant Hills you have? I heard you might be willing to let some of them go. There's a few rare ones I'm looking for. And I told him yesterday, I sent him a video of all my Grant Hills. And when I woke up this morning, he said he didn't have an Essential Credentials yet. He didn't have one. And so what happened as a result of that was I wanted to make sure he had the full awareness of this situation from the BGS 5 and the accusations and whatever. And my peace of mind was like, this card is graded. And so I just looked up the cert number just to make sure everything was still copacetic. Like, it's my card, but I don't want to have any like situation where he's like, oh shoot, this card's not. And much to my shock and surprise, I looked up the cert, and as you'll see on the screen, the cert was deactivated. The cert was deactivated. And that was a big shock for me. I'm looking at the screen going like, is there something wrong? I typed it back in like 3 times, but you can see the details. And basically like this card, this cert was deactivated intentionally. At the time, I hadn't received any communication. There was no customer support email. What I did was I actually emailed originally, I just responded to the original email from PSA. It's like info@psacard.com, but that apparently is not a reply eligible email. So I went to their website and I filled out the form, the submission form. Now I will say it wasn't clear to me on the submission form which option I was supposed to choose. I chose one that I thought was the most fitting about like authentication and guarantee. And I sent them pictures and was like, what's going on? This card, like, how did this happen? I also messaged them on Instagram saying, hey, like, we've got this video coming out, which we've now delayed pushing out because of like these unfolding events. But PSA did reach out today. I myself haven't had an opportunity to speak with them. I was knees deep in a bunch of different work today, critical work. But one of our other employees did speak to them. And they said, hey, we've got an explanation. We want to talk to you about what happened, how this happened, and kind of what the process was. And so my hope is that we'll have an update video for you, maybe later this week, maybe sometime next week. At some point, we'll push out an update and let you kind of know what happened in the situation. But it sounds like PSA has changed their minds and maybe got some additional information sent to them about this card, or maybe they just want to pause it. They might want me to send the card back to them. So I've got to figure that out from the PSA guarantee perspective. Like, how is all this going to play out? Is Cards HQ going to have to reimburse me? We're going to get it figured out. I'm glad somebody reached out. This was not the outcome that I was hoping for. I've been looking forward to getting this video out, and I was excited that the card was real because there's not a lot of them graded. Even though it's serial numbered to 80, the pop count across all the companies is very low on this card. The cert has been deactivated by PSA through Beckett. I'm assuming their acquisition of Beckett, by Collector's acquisition of Beckett now maybe integrates those two things together. That's one positive. Kind of a whole whirlwind of emotions today, to be totally honest. Like, kind of frustrating, kind of depressing, sad, confusion. I wouldn't say there's a lot of happiness on my part right now, but I'm looking forward to talking to them and understanding more why. And really wanted to get this video out tonight. We release every week. And so you'll have to apologize or accept the apology for the tardiness. And hopefully we have this video out to you by around 7 Eastern time. And we'll give you more information when we have it. But yeah, what a process, what a journey, even just for this card. And hopefully I can get you some more information soon. So let me know down below, have you ever had anything like this happen? Have you had cards that have had certs deactivated? That does happen. I know it happens after the fact. I've never been a part of it. So this is new to me, but hopefully we're going to get it figured out, get some answers from PSA and their customer service and IT teams and grading and whoever else might need to be involved in that. And we will let all of you know the update and the resolution to that soon. So other than
obviously you can kind of get the gist of it towards the end. We're literally about a minute left. Brandon, before you say anything, I just want to make sure I cover this. Go ahead, please.
How many comments have said they want you to send it back so they can put it in a higher grade and sell it in the PSA vault for more money? They want to buy it back from you, put it in a higher grade so they can put it in the vault. Because I'm sure that there's got to be at least a few.
We'll have to do some deep analysis on this. But so Eric, I wanted to let this play out. I had watched the video, obviously. I did mention to you guys. Did you see that twist coming?
No, it's especially so soon after. It just doesn't make any sense. You had the card, and now they're not even telling him, well, maybe he's doing a tease and try to bring in ratings. I don't know, but it's from what he's saying, he doesn't have the answer. At this point that he's making this video.
Well, based on that last little segment, Eric, is that That last piece of the recording, based on the description, is that it is happening the same day that the video is going live, because that's why he's giving specific times. So think about this, just to let you know, for folks that are watching this, obviously this is going to drop on Tuesday. So this is a replay thing for you guys. And again, check out the original video. Feel free. At the time of recording this, so that we're all got this set up, timestamped, it is now 9:53 p.m. Eastern at the time that I am saying these words that you are hearing right now. That video has been out for less than 3 hours officially. So literally, Eric, we're catching this almost bang on as it's coming out. The reaction to it is almost in real time. So literally, the video's only had a couple of hours.
Right.
I will look at it again in the morning and see kind of what happened with it. But I can tell you, just looking at initially the handful of comments, PSA messed up again. It's like, well, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But if that's your only takeaway, that's quite. You're missing a lot of context here.
My takeaway is, why doesn't this guy, as a customer, have the answers he needs? So either PSA, I don't understand why he's doesn't have the answers right now.
Because he said that he was busy and that a coworker spoke with them and that they had gave him, they gave some details, but he was being pressed because he was already tardy getting the video out. So I don't think he wanted to rush in and try to cement down all of the details and everything. And he personally didn't talk to PSA. And it's going to make a follow-up video, which, I can't blame you for doing that either. So
yeah,
I think by the majority of it, he didn't get to talk to
definitely
PSA.
a cliffhanger.
Which, by the way, from a content standpoint, is not a bad idea.
Yeah.
But I'm also going to add one more thing, and also give some context, because I did already mention that I had talked to him previously on the channel. And again, he was very gracious in coming on and talking about a couple different things, and we had a good discussion. But real quick, and I'm actually checking the cert number while we're talking. So sorry if my audio suddenly goes a little louder. The thing is that with the stuff he's doing because obviously we see him on the screen, but he's got a day job working with the MarketMovers application. Like, he actually does work for them specifically related to that. So even when I was talking with him, he actually gave me a schedule of different time slots where we could talk. I had the flexibility to be able to fit within certain time schedules, and we worked it out, and we were able to have a nice conversation. But what the key to it is that, like a lot of folks, he's got a day job. So not everybody has all the time to be able to pick up the phone and say, oh no, please talk to me at any hours of the day or night. And he has kids and other responsibilities and everything. I was willing to be very flexible for the time. We were able to work it out. So I'm not surprised necessarily, but if they're doing that last little update, Eric, the same day they're airing it live, that means they're moving by the seat of their pants. So the cliffhanger is built in. Like, immediately you're getting a video out. And let's be clear, it's not a bad thing to have a cliffhanger. No. From an engagement standpoint. Hey, stay tuned for part 2, right?
It is good, but
he probably also he would have to do a follow-up anyway, because I'm sure on PSA end they're going to try to figure out how to resolve this, in terms of standing by the guarantee, all of those things. The details of why he may know them, but people are going to then want to know, well, what are they going to do for you? And he may not know that yet. So maybe he's trying to get all of that information together to share with everybody, because I think that would be the best way to handle this. Again, we can look at, PSA messed up. Let's not forget, this was in a different holder to begin with. There's multiple people that have said it looked legit. So as someone who has never been a PSA supporter, I'm not pointing the fingers at PSA here. In fact, I'm going to give them a little bit of credibility. If they did catch it that quickly and they decided to remove it out, there was questions, credibility, to them. They didn't let it make its way out back into the open market. So props to Teapot for whatever reason, rechecking the certification before it sounds like he was going to sell the card to somebody, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see the resolution to it. So,
yep. Now, just so that I can share with you guys here, I pulled up the serial number. I went back to the video, scrolled back. I'll read it to you. It's here just in front of you, just so you can see. So this is the kind of message that I've seen in the past with this. So it says, cert deactivated. The certification number has been intentionally deactivated. If you believe this message to be an error, please try to double check your entry for accuracy. If the entry is correct and you require immediate assistance, please contact customer support. Now, here's the thing. Now, in fairness, it does have customer contact support in the app. So I actually went to the PSA app and punched in the number manually just so I could look at it myself. So that's how I could see that it was decertified and confirm what he's saying. And also, by the way, you notice the timestamp. So 9:58, 57 at the time that the timestamp is on there. But the thing is that here's what's interesting. In the past, before I think Nat Turner and those guys took over, or in the early days of it, whenever you got a message like this, they would actually give you a specific phone number to call because there was a person or persons who were in charge of a lot of that stuff. So they would actually give you the contact number. So specifically, they would say, if this is an error or if there's an issue, please call so-and-so at this number. Now, in this case, obviously, as part of the video, he did explain that he was able to get in touch with somebody and a coworker was able to chat with them. The follow-up will be everything. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of it, but it is interesting to me, to your point, kind of what you guys were talking about. Obviously, look, at the end of the day, 2 different grading companies get it wrong, 2 different sets. And by the way, that other Grant Hill card, based on that video, I'll see if I can find the original video that it came from. But based on the video, I think the video was from 2023, I believe. And I could be mistaken on the year, but if that's the case, Eric, we're talking 2 different generations. So this is before Beckett was bought by collectors. So it's this 2 different regimes. This is not the same. So it's not like the left hand goes to the right hand. This is like regime 1 got it quote unquote wrong. In that scenario, it means regime 2 got it wrong. And it also means our dealer got it wrong. It also means our other 90s collector got it wrong. And it means Real 27 guy and Spinatron having the full set obviously has some insight on that. Go ahead, Brandon.
I didn't want to interrupt. I was going to let you finish, but I do have something that is very important that we need to make sure that is disclosed.
Go ahead.
So before anybody in the comments say, this is why you should send it to Tag.
Okay.
Let's not forget that this card is from the 90s and they do not do those. Just want to make sure we're clear there. Okay.
Okay.
I appreciate that you included that. That was critically important. Thank goodness. Look, I for one am glad. I'm glad that you brought this up, or else like we would have been
because
so much
grading
trouble.
videos, that's always what it comes to. This is why we need Tag. This is why you should use Tag. And it's like, well, this one they're irrelevant. So let's just squash that ahead of time.
Yeah, because Tag's going to be able to tell you whether or not the stamp on the back is fraudulent or not.
But
Yeah.
So let the record state. I don't want the tag bots to get the wrong impression. I want you to know I wasn't going to bring this up, except Brandon invoked them. I'm going to find the video. Eric, I found a video where there was a Pokemon guy who does repaired Pokemon cards. Repaired. And just to let you know, I found it. And just to let you know, and their channel is called Slab Rehab.
Okay.
Slab Rehab. And I want you to know that Tag graded their stuff and all that and all fine and whatever. And I want you to know, and I'll include the link in the description so you can watch it yourself. Their conclusion was that because Tag has all the information in the dig report, he believes he can use the dig report to help him figure out how to properly repair cards going forward. So let Old Man Tag know that he is assisting the card repair community in making sure the repairs are more suitable to grading.
Yeah.
All righty.
I'm sure that's exactly what Old Man Tag wanted.
Oh, I'm sure.
You're helping the repairing folks repair.
Unfortunately, that might get them more business.
I'm just saying, Brandon. All I'm saying is, so Eric, I'm sure, like that's exactly
my diagnostic report.
Yes. So I found the video. I'll include a link in the description. You guys can enjoy it. And look, don't blame me. Blame Brandon. I wouldn't have remembered to think about that to mention it, but I got to do what I got to do.
Yeah, I mean, you see it so often now, and it's become such a thing, and it's a running joke and everything. But in this scenario, seriously, they don't even do these. Like, so I just wanted to mention that, just to remind folks before they said anything.
Yeah. So like I said, I think it's very nice. I think it'll be very interesting to see. And like right now, I think I did refresh it. It has 115 comments so far. And as you can imagine, it is full of very thoughtful commentary.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
Listen, no doubt. But all I gotta say is this: it is interesting, and I'm not picking on anybody in this case. I'm just saying it is interesting. I do, as always, praise the content gods. I do appreciate the content god. They gave us this episode. Without them, this would not have been possible.
I want to praise Teapot because he has been putting out some. People can look at it as, different directions of it. I think it's educational and it's important information because, like, I did one on the grading thing he did, and I shared my opinions on it. I didn't think that the numerically graded stuff was really that far out of line. But the questions of like why Beckett sent the 2 cards back as authentic altered, and why SGC said the one was altered, the Griffey was altered, and then gave it, I believe, a 9 or something, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, Tag said it was oversized. Like, those things were very big question marks. The numeric side of it wasn't that out of whack. Here, this is going to be a focus on Beckett and PSA, but I think the thing to really take away from it is, like I said, this isn't the only card out there like this. There is going to be more of these. I assure you, there is more stuff like this out there. And people aren't aware of that. They're going to see, well, PSA screwed up, PSA sucks, Beckett, whatever. But there is a message behind this. And props to him for doing these, because they do get eyes on the videos. For sure. And this was sacrificing a PC card that he said was the most he had ever spent on a card. A guy that works in a shop with another guy that spends 6 figures on cards, and his biggest PC card was a Grant Hill, mind you, in a 5, and he had spent $2,200 on, which isn't chump change, but like, he was very excited and happy to own that card. And again, I think the thing that needs to be taken away from this is the amount of this stuff that actually exists out there that people aren't even aware of. If that was with somebody else, it probably would have never been found.
Sure. So 3 quick things to finish off on. Number 1, kind of going off of what Brandon's talking about. It goes back to something I've talked about in the past. The majority of the hobby is not operating in 4-figure plus cards. No. The majority of the hobby is operating much lower down the scale, because for most of us, disposable income does not allow the purchase of $1,000 plus car, multi-thousand. I don't care how many card show vlogs you watch with people dropping buckets of cash on the ground, seemingly at will. The average rank and file collector can't do that, and they won't. So it's one of those things you got to understand, that a lot of these purchases over a couple $100 or $100 and beyond are a thought. They have to really think about it. It's an intentional purchase. It's not this spontaneous flippant thing that you just throw money on the ground and you don't care what happens with it. That's the average rank and file collector. That's a normal thing. So that's first. Second thing is, all these companies are fallible. Individuals are fallible. People can have disagreement. We gave some nuances. Hopefully in the course of this conversation, you heard some of the nuances that are part of it. I am interested to see what happens with it. I did mention I will reach out after we're done talking here tonight in the recording. I will reach out. Obviously, I'm more than happy to wait until this is finalized to see what the final result is. But I would love to get Teapot back on here to talk about this and maybe get some thoughts and get some more elaboration on kind of what happened with it. Also some thoughts on it. Because obviously, at the end of the day, this doesn't solve the problem. Obviously, people run to the comment section with agenda. And that leads me to number 3. Brandon, I have found our commenter. Now, obviously, there are multiple commenters that can fall into this category. Brandon, this one's a personal favorite of mine. This is my good friend, Earl. He who doesn't know the difference between blog and vlog, video and the written word. Earl is here in the comment section of this video. May I read you what Earl has to say? The sage wisdom of Earl. May I?
What he blogged.
What he blogged to us. No, in this case, it's written, so he vlogged it. He vlogged it.
Oh, yeah, my bad. I got it reversed.
Yes. Video is the blog. Writing is the vlog.
Yeah.
So he vlogged it for us. Earl said, bullshit, with the shit emoji. Why would you send it to PSA? Stay with me. That's the same company. At the time, it's not. At the time that the other card was created, it was not the same company, Earl. Time is a thing, Earl. Comma. That had to be the dumbest thing to do. You should have sent it to Tag. Yes!
Oh,
We did it!
there we go.
We did it! Hold on. Wait.
Touchdown.
Brandon,
I knew it was going to be there.
Brandon, did I let you down? Did I let you down?
Good old Earl.
Earl. My boy.
Also, for everybody, they are not the same company.
At the time that this card was graded, they were not.
They still aren't. They're owned by the same corporation.
Yeah. But at the time,
company.
take it a step further, Brandon, though. At the time, they weren't even part of the same corporation. They were literally completely separate entities at the time that the original card was graded. And I will see, Eric, I will try to find the PWCC video. If I can find the PWCC video to give people that full context, I'd like to do that. I think that's helpful if it may help. Whatever that conversation was with Real 27 Guy and Spinatron, I will try to locate it. If I can find that video, I will include it in the description as well. That way you guys have that additional reference point if you'd like. The link to the original video is included, so you guys can check it out yourselves. Obviously, we gave our commentary on it. They agree, disagree, whatever. We were having some fun with some of it. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. You got to work with it. But it is interesting. Now, I'm genuinely curious, obviously, what the next question is going to be.
I think this is going in a little bit deeper direction here. I would expect that PSA corrects this in a good manner for Teapot. For one fact is Nat Turner is big into the 90s basketball stuff and obviously has counterparts that also are in that space. And I think it would look good on them with this being known as potential issues and to give some confidence amongst PSA as well to correct this and make it right in a good way. I think that would be the best solution for them.
Yep, I think that's completely fair. I was just scanning through just to see if there's anything else interesting. There's some winners in the comment section. Some winners.
I can only imagine.
It invokes the best and brightest. Let me tell you, it invokes the best and brightest. But anyway, so like I said, I'll include links in the description to all that. Hopefully, folks enjoyed. This won't be the norm for the episodes, but in this case, we didn't have any crazy news things to talk about, and we did talk about some collecting stuff. I have an idea for a video maybe I'd like to do on the channel this week. I got to think about it some more. I'm going to percolate on it, and if I can put something together, I will. There will be a pickup video this week. I want to talk about some of these cards in some more depth, but that'll be later. And then the live stream on Friday will be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as is the norm. Eric will not be there. As we discussed earlier tonight, Eric has come up with excuses, rationals. Again, as before, I do mention and emphasize artist rendering. We'll talk about more about his tardiness, his dereliction of duty. But I do want to let you know, no matter what happens, because Eric, Celtics tickets are not cheap, Brandon. Celtics tickets are something kind of bougie. So I want to let you know, very special, this Friday, the like button has 10x'd in honor of Michael Rubin and the Fanatics Overlords. Eric will be paying. Hit the like button early and often. You can start today. As you watch this episode, hit the like button. Eric pays for that one too. Last thing, before I go, I always thank AMG. They are in the description and everything for supporting the channel and the podcast. There will be a podcast episode that is going to be recorded tomorrow at the time that we're talking. Wednesday, it'll drop on the AMG YouTube channel. Links in the description. And Steve has already provided me with some images of some very interesting stuff that has been picked up. We got some wrestling. We got some of the hockeys. And even shock and horror, I'm going to ask him if he wants me to include it as part of it because we can. But there might be a Shohei Ohtani's. There might be a Mikel Jordan. There might be some shiny 90s. I'm just looking at the images right now. I'm seeing a bunch of stuff here. We may talk about that and more on this coming episode of the AMG podcast.
Underlying Eric hate as there was in the last episode.
Oh, it wasn't Eric hate. It was profound, clear emphasis on bad music.
Well, if your message was for it to be underlying, so I received, but I could still receive the message, I got your message.
Oh yes, and it's important that you did. And I want you to know that after I explained it pre-show, which is why Blair could barely contain his laughter when we got to it. I said, "How perfect that you bring this up. I know exactly who will appreciate this, and I will make sure the message is delivered." That was the previous episode. Links in the description. We thank AMG for supporting the channel and the podcast. With that said, we're done here. Thank you very much. I've got to get back on the uploading the audio versions. My apologies on the tardiness. Again, just go to the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is usually the best way to get this. I get to it in bursts. Like you're going to get this weeks later. Just take advantage of the YouTube channel. Just go there and do it that way. And go get YouTube Premium, man. You can take it on the go. Take it with you. Anyway, Brandon, Baubles and Ball Cards, known associated 540 Flips. Eric Sanderson or hiding at a Boston Celtics game near you at the end of the week. Coincidentally, after some more thievery, some more chicanery, some more Beckett shenanigans. And what a coincidence, Brandon, that Eric will not be available on Friday to face his accusers.
Mm-hmm.
Convenient, I think. Very convenient. That's it for this one. Episode 172 in the books. Thank you very much. We'll catch you in the next one.